where we prop up dictators and we sell the long term for the short term. And I think that is unsustainable for the future, given the way that technology has flattened the informational world and it makes everybody equal and accessible. So I think it was necessary for, in essence, the region to move to long-term stability. That's my overall conclusion.
Great. So the question goes to Moaz, and David again. If states feel similar discomfort in their own governments, would you encourage this form of action? If not, what other actions should states do to voice their opinion and see change? We'll start with David.
Okay, I'll just continue on. Well, the question, referring to states, I'm assuming that's Middle Eastern states, because in liberal democracies you have the ability to change your government. It's called an election, and one that's not rigged, as my colleague noted. And so there is kind of a pressure valve in most liberal democracies to affect change and to prosecute reforms, and it's called constitutional court, which was totally denuded in Egypt. It's called the ability to actually have free and fair elections, political parties. So with that said, each I think you have to look at each state individually. You need to see connections, sure, but each state is different. I think no matter what, the basis of the actions, which I applaud the Egyptian people for, was that it was civil disobedience. There was no violence, and that is critical. It has to be a nonviolent movement. When you get into the Arab-Israeli conflict and the issue there, one of the things that hurts the Palestinians is that they have not used nonviolence. If they used a civil rights movement, I find it much harder for Israel to continue this apartheid regime. So I think the critical issue becomes, if you need or want to protest, it has to be in a nonviolent means. And this is certainly becoming more effectuated with, as they mentioned, social media networks. And I think that has to be the basis for any change. It has to be nonviolent. Otherwise, you lose the moral high ground.